Hello there. It's D-Vlog again, you know me. And I'm here with my old buddy, CJ Wildheart. Less of the old, obviously.
Hello.
And we're in the Valley Gardens in Harrogate. It's beautiful. It's a lovely sunny day. And so we thought we'd take this outdoors for a change. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, George. Do I need to put this?
Yes.
Look at this.
Like-
Man, I should have been a drummer.
Like a singer.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yes.
Really good. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, your new album
Yes.
is out in June. Fantastic. It's a ferocious beast.
It's it's really refreshing because I'm getting older. I'm 58 now. And 7 years I'll be 65, and it's a magnificent age to get to 65. But I still feel like I'm in my 20s, and,
Oh, absolutely.
and I still move and act, and I don't behave like I'm in my 20s. But on stage, no one will think I'm a man approaching OAP status.
Oh, you're younger than me. I'm 48.
And the fact I've always said that I have an aversion to soft, like acoustic music. No, I don't mind acoustic artists, but when you see people who make punk and rock or metal, high energy music, and they suddenly tone it down as they get older, I'm going out on fire.
Absolutely.
And, that's my plan.
Blaze of Glory. And you've come into the album with this incredible track, 999. I love it. It's anti-fascist anthem. Now, there's not enough bands out there doing these sorts of songs, man. Back in the 90s, you used to have like Populi itself doing it, Fundamental were doing it, like there were Chumbawamba, people who were actually rising up. And now when we need these songs, there aren't enough.
I think a lot, 999, it's spelled like in the German word, no, but 999, obviously, it's an emergency. And it was me. I'm an avid watcher and reader of the news, and I read left wing, right wing, centre wing news. I need to get the whole picture, because to truly understand people, you need to see the whole picture. You
Absolutely.
can't just be, if your politics are leaning just towards the left, how are you going to know about what's going on the right? You need to see everything.
Absolutely.
And it was on. There's a lot going on in this country, which brings me a lot of shame and makes me worry, because especially when people are judging people by their skin color.
Yeah.
And I could quite, if I wore the right type of clothes, someone down the wrong street would look at me and think I'd come over just on a dinghy, because of my skin color. The fact that I'm covered in tattoos and I don't shop at Sports Direct. I'm a cheeky bastard as well. Saved my life, I reckon, my bacon. But there is an emergency, not just in this country. There's an emergency in the world and amongst the human race at the moment.
Absolutely. And I think social media has a lot to answer for as well. Especially, we all know about Facebook and the sort of like the algorithm and all of that sort of stuff, and how you can get pummeled with, like, well, not us, we know better, but like young impressionable minds getting pummeled with the wrong information,
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you come out screaming with that track, and the bass lines, man. Got to talk about the bass lines. Absolutely loving it. Walking bass lines, like, I'm a big fan of, like, Clash and stuff like that. I can hear that.
Good.
Yeah, that's the intention, right?
I and when people ask me who I try and rip off, the Clash are like one of the bands I'll always say I rip off. I've ripped off a bit of the Pistols as well on this album.
There is a little.
Yeah, people can hear it. There's a song in there called Rotten, which isn't about like Johnny Rotten. It's about doing drugs and rotten.
Yeah, rotten inside.
Rotten inside. But I love bass. It's my favourite instrument in any band. And there's this dumb concept, like attitude saying like bass is really easy to play. Yeah, if you're just following root notes, any fool can do that. But playing bass properly is a real art, and it's something I'm always learning, and I find a lot harder than singing and playing the guitar.
Absolutely. And people say, oh, well, he stepped back to bass from guitar. It's like, well, no, because if you're playing bass, you're halfway between the rhythm section and the melody.
Yeah.
And you've got more things to think about. You could be following the kicks and all sorts of stuff, Like
in bands, the front man will always get the attention because he's the front man. mostly guitarists leave me dead inside. I don't like whittly guitarists. I've been in bands. I had people in my band who were whittlers, and it's just they're really good, but no soul, man, no feeling. And Angus Young's my favorite guitarist, and I like kind of blues based guitarists, and and have that play like standard scales, and but there's millions of guitarists, great guitarists. There's millions of amazing singers. Most people can sing. A lot of people can sing amazingly well, but great, amazing bass players are rare.
They are.
Like, really rare.
They are. If you ask like your average Joe to name their favourite bass player, they'll come up with the same 5 names usually, because you don't dig that deep on bass players. Well, I do, but like your average Joe doesn't. So yes, give it up for the bass players. I'm a big bass fan. Also, it's interesting what you said there about guitar players, because I think like when I was growing up in like late 80s, early 90s, the onus was always on like Eddie Van Halen or Bandy Rhodes or something like that. All the kids wanted to solo. I think it would be great if we taught the importance of the rhythm guitarist a lot more, because great rhythm guitarists, the glue that sticks it all together.
Look at Malcolm Young and you mentioned Randy Rhoads and who's the other guitarist?
Eddie Van Halen.
See, I'm not a Van Halen fan or an Ozzy fan, and I mean, to be honest with you, I said this in another interview, and I've never heard a Black Sabbath album. And the first thing you normally hear in a band is a singer. And I never liked Ozzy's vocals.
Fair.
And I don't like high-pitched vocals, so I've never listened to
like a nasal vocal or whatever.
Led Zeppelin album. And I like people who sound like they've got a bit of huskiness and they've smoked a bit and drunk a bit of whiskey. And I like a lot of soul in my singers. So there's a lot of metal singers I just can't listen to. It hurts me a bit, But everyone, there's something out there for everybody.
Absolutely.
But, with guitar players, if they start showing off, it comes off. So there's a lot of metal guitarists I just don't want to listen to it. You can't beat a good riff.
No, that's what we all came for.
But for me, a song is all about that chorus, and it's all about melody. Whether it's the bass doing it, the drums, because drums can be melodic as well.
Yeah, of course.
Look at Stuart Copeland from The Police.
Yeah, man.
He's a melodic drummer.
Yeah.
And, it's all about the melody and getting to the chorus as quickly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, the choruses, you'll know for your choruses throughout your career, whether it be with Wildheart, Honeycrack, or all the bands you've been in.
Yeah, it's melody.
It's the big hooks.
Yeah.
And writing hooks is hard.
Yeah.
What people go, pop music is dead easy. It's really not.
It's writing a chorus, I think, is one of the hardest things to write. For me, the easiest music is angry music, because it's really easy to just scream and shout, and riffs are really easy to come up with as well, very easy. But when you strip it back and it's being driven by a vocal melody or a guitar melody or a bass melody, it's a lot harder to come up with those sort of days. For me personally, it's a lot harder. And but for me, it's the most important part of a song is of course. I mean, there's a lot of bands. There's that weird Canadian band, the 2-piece, Angine.
Oh, Angine de
Poitrine or something.
Yeah.
I've looked at them. I discovered them last year, and before everyone jumped on them.
Yeah.
They just popped up, and I was like, oh, look, interesting looking band. And I kind of got it.
Yeah.
Within about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I got it. Because I know I've heard them lots and lots of times, and I got it within 30 seconds. But there's no hook there, and there's no chorus there. But I understand it's that microtonal thing, and it's kind of mathy. Yeah. And I understand that talent, but I'd love to hear him write a song.
Yeah.
And hear a proper hook. It'd be great.
And I would say anybody freaking out to that band should probably check out Brian Eno.
Yeah, I mean, our version of them was Primus. When I first heard Primus, but again, Primus had vocals and hooks, but I mean, whenever they come up on my feed, I always look at them. I like the drummer. I like the way when he opens up, he's got a really good feel.
Yeah.
I prefer the drummer to the guitarist, because the guitarist it's all a bit too.
Well, it's all solos, isn't it?
Yeah. But I can see why people are jumping on them.
Oh, yeah.
And out of all the masked bands I've seen recently, they're the only one I like. There seems to be a lot of masked bands.
Oh, isn't there just?
Yeah.
I mean, I could go chapter and verse on that one, but I shan't because it's devolution, and some of you guys like those things.
Yeah, well, I go from Slipknot straight to Angine de Poitin or whatever they call it. Everything else between there is like, nothing for me.
So, what are the other subjects that we're touching on this record? There are some more loving records. There's also Out with the Boys.
Yeah, well, like one of the boys.
One of the
boys is. Before we started filming, I was telling you that the current state of music, and I'm struggling to call this a full-time job now. And I'm, for me to carry on making music, I really, really need to probably get a part-time job to run alongside my diminishing musical career. And one of the boys is a swan song. It's basically me saying goodbye. Because it's like when the curtain falls, I'm just one of the boys, and that's exactly what I am. So it could be my last ever single, or it could be the beginning of
a whole bunch of other stuff,
the next chapter of my career. So it's a question mark, one of the boys question mark, and I don't know where I'm going from here. Writing albums and recording albums I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's a default setting for me because I've done it all my life. I've done it for over 40 years.
It's your craft.
And it's my default setting.
Yeah.
So for me to make another 4 or 5 albums, it wouldn't be a problem for me. The problem is calling it a job and making a living from it.
That's true.
This has never been a hobby. So on this album, there's a song called SOB, which stands for Sad Old Boy.
Right.
And it's me looking back on my career. And seeing where I am right now, and the sad old boy bit is the fact that I'm really struggling to get shows now.
Yeah.
And your Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights at my level has been swamped by the tribute bands.
Yes.
And I understand that they pull in people.
They're bankers.
But I'm an original musician, and I'm suffering because of that. And it makes me a sad old boy.
Yeah.
Although I'm always smiling most of the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, because like your career spanned a lot of change in the music industry, like a hell of a lot.
Analog to digital.
And the way the majors embraced streaming, which was interesting when I dug a bit deeper on it, in that it was all dictated by the back catalogue, and less onus on new artists, which is why the music industry, like they say, it's actually doing badly. It's not. Music industry is actually making more money than it ever did. It's musicians that are doing badly.
I mean, I'm not a Luddite, and I'm all for life being a journey and different sounds, tastes, and sensations. I don't want to be in Groundhog Day.
No,
because that's not living. That's just repeating, and everything you're doing, just repeating it. And you move forward. And my time was the 90s. All right.
A wonderful time as well.
I'm not a young man, as I said, I'm approaching, my 60s, and my time was the 90s, and so I fully understand, you've got to move forward. What I have a problem with is finding the balance between like what's old, what's new, and what's going to come. And it seems to all be unbalanced. It's not quite right yet, and I'm hoping in my lifetime the world will find its feet again. I really need the world to be in a better place for my son, who's only 11. So when he's a young adult, I need this place to be a lot better than it is now. We can't have any more Trumps, we can't have any more Farages. I don't care if you're that is, you can tell, of course I'm going to say that, look at me. We need are, as I said, people in the middle. Who cater to the extremes, the people there at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and the people in the middle, and that's what we're not getting right now. Everything, you're either left, you're either right, or you're either there, or black, or white,
or you're cancelled.
And I need the world to become a better place for my boy.
Generally more tolerant. And accepting. We had it right for a minute. I was talking to a cab driver about that the other day. I say it takes a major sporting event for us to unify. And then it's like, it's in Britain, great. It's just like, but this is on for 2 weeks, mate.
I've never been a big. I don't like watching sports.
I'm not a sports guy either.
And football really put me off because it was like all the football hooligans back in the day, and I mean, I had a good kicking from the intercity firm West Ham like footballers when I was like about 18 and 19. They didn't like me. I mean, I had a lot of hair, full makeup and stuff. But my son's a big football fan. But luckily enough, his stepdad is a massive football fan. So I said, you know, Josh knows I don't watch sports. So, and I said, like, yeah, your stepdad deals with the football side. If you want to learn how to cook, or, you know, listen to some decent music, come to me.
It's about knowing
sports, forget about it.
Yeah. So if your son turned around to you now and said, Dad, I want to be a musician, professional musician, what would you say?
No. Right, so I had always had this thing with Josh, my boy's called Josh. He had to ask me 3 times if he wanted to learn the guitar.
Yeah.
And then about a year and a half ago, he had asked me 3 times.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, I'll sort you out of a guitar. I've got a few in the lockup, and gave him a nice guitar. I said, I'm not going to teach you because I'll end up killing you, and I'm not a teacher.
Yeah.
When my dad could play the guitar, my dad's family are all musicians. He gave me a teach yourself guitar book. He says, teach yourself, because if you teach yourself, you might not be able to play properly, but you have your own style and you won't play like your teacher.
Absolutely, totally endorse that.
And so I said to Josh, I'm not going to teach you. You can either have lessons or teach yourself. And he goes, oh, there's a guitar teacher in school. So we paid up for a year lessons.
Yeah.
A year lessons. And after a year, I go, do you want to carry on playing the guitar? And he went, nah, I'll just play for fun if I'm going to do it. I go, why is that? And he goes, I don't want to be poor like you, Dad.
Oh.
And I
right in the feels.
No. It was the best thing he could ever say to me. Because I don't want my son to go down that route, because music has really changed. I didn't want, if I was back 20 or 30 years ago, I wouldn't want my son to go down the route I went down. You know, the drugs and the abuse and just being ripped off. And, you know, it's, who would wish that upon the kid? You know, it's like, unless you're going to become really successful, but even really successful people, they're even more like up, you know?
Yeah, I keep saying to, like, when I see younger bands or I talk to, like, you know, more experienced musicians, the best thing I think any musician in this day and age could learn is how to do everything yourself and not pay anybody else to do anything, just become a one-stop shop.
I think a lot of people are doing that, but I mean, for me, it's like I want my son to have an education, and maybe have some sort of qualification. But you know, him saying that to me was like, it was one of the happiest days of my life, because the worst thing you can do is put stars in children's eyes. It's the worst thing you do, because 99.9% of all artists are never going to make it, and they will never make a living from this. And you know, they can go down the tribute band act, but they're just actors at the end of the day. They're not coming up with anything original. Nope. Coming up with original artistic material that people will buy is so hard to do, and you're in such a minority that I think it's wrong to put stars in kids. I know so many like artists, and their parents have put stars in their eyes, and you know they're rubbish. You know, they're never gonna make it. They're never going. They just don't have that certain thing, and it's only a minority who really succeed in the arts, and there's a reason for that. I mean, there's a lot of nepotism going on.
Oh yes, I mean the industry's run on nepotism.
You know, and I understand that. If you can give someone a leg up, give them a leg up. But you know, with my boy, the thing I'm ramming into him is go for something that's at least AI proof for the time being. So if he wanted to become a plumber, a builder, electrician, a chef. You know, if he wanted to become a chef, I would hug. I'd have a firework display.
But that comes with its own stresses.
But it's an AI-proof job.
True that, for now.
And you've got to think of the future right now. And the world I grew up, it isn't the 80s, the 70s, and 90s anymore. You know, it's a different world, and so you got to adapt. You can't live like it's, you know.
There is a thought I had recently from an artist who said that when everything is easy to do, like AI, you can knock up a song on your phone, but that puts the premium back on the human element. Because the human element will then become so rare that it's a premium product.
You
know, therefore, like live performance and things like that really is where it would be.
There's I mean AI is I like AI, right? But I don't like what it could potentially do to the human race. So there needs to be brakes put on it, and there needs to be conditions. And I mean, I've heard some very good AI generated music, but it's a human input in all those parameters. You know, it hasn't a guy hasn't just pressed the button, go,
Yeah.
and this thing has made this beautiful music. The parameters have been put in
Yeah.
there, and the person doing it is a musician.
Yeah.
He knows exactly how the bass has to work, the vocals and all that.
Yeah.
And same with the video as well. But you know, there's a place for everything in this world, which, as I said, the balance is all out. Politics are unbalanced, the human race is unbalanced, the music industry is unbalanced at the moment. You know, the world is unbalanced, and whether we're changing, which I believe we are, and we're moving into a different, like, you know, it's a different age, and you know, we're part of the old school.
Yeah.
You know, and as I said, it's not about us. Our time has been and gone. It's about what's happening and what the world is going to turn into for our children and grandchildren. That's what's really important.
Amazing. So it's out in June.
Yeah.
All formats. You're doing the vinyl pre-sales.
Vinyl pre-order at the moment, CD pre-order at the moment,
Right.
and it drops on digital June the 26th when it comes out. You know what? I can't keep up. I
Right.
can't keep up with the amount of albums I've put out. But I've been doing this over 40 years, and you know, I've made a lot of albums and been in a lot of bands. So,
Absolutely, brother.
And I don't count them.
Yeah.
It's just another album.
Just another day at work.
Yeah.
All
Another
right.
day in the office. Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to me today,
Thank
mate.
you very much, George. Thank you.
Cheers.
Brilliant.